Good morning. Today is Sunday, April 18th, and we do have two birthdays. One birthday is for Jean-Luc over at WW Gays. Today's his birthday, so I think it's Jean-Luc. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jean-Luc. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Not really sure he watches my channel anymore, but he told me last year that's when his birthday was, and so I put it in my calendar and I'm singing. But in my own little heart, my own special birthday is for my son Danny today, because Danny is 44 years old today, and 44 was my father's favorite number. I pointed this out on Jimmy's 44th birthday. I'm pointing it out on Danny's 44th birthday, and when my daughter Christy turns 44, I will point it out again. But here's a picture of my son Danny with me. This was before everything, happened. But here's a picture of us. It's my son Danny's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Danny. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha. Love you. I love him so much. If you ask Danny or Jimmy and Christy, they'll say he's my favorite child. If you ask Danny, he will say he's my favorite child. I do not have a favorite child. But try to convince my kids of that. It's never going to work. So I always like to point out to them, well, which one is your favorite child? And the only one that can really, truly, honestly answer that is Christy, because she's only got one child. So she can always say Sophia is her favorite child, because Sophia is her only child. But Danny has two boys, Sebastian and Oliver, and Jimmy has Alyssa and David, so he can't pick one. We pointed that out on the other day, that he can't pick one out. So you just don't pick a favorite child. I know that some people tend to think that some people have favorite children. Gina Pearson, I know you pointed that out. But Gina's only got the one, too, so she has a favorite child. But I think you only have a favorite child if you only have one. But anyway, so it's Danny's birthday. He's golfing. He's in his element. He just loves it. If I could ever get him the chance to meet Garth Brooks, that would be the perfect gift for Danny. So if any of you know Garth Brooks and you figure out a way you can hook him up to meet Garth Brooks, I would be forever grateful for, what was the word? I would forever owe you. It's just like, 'cause that would be Danny's dream, to meet Garth Brooks. But I'll tell you a Danny story, since it's Danny's birthday. Let me think of a Danny story. Well, Danny's always been very generous. And another thing Danny was always good at, when I would sit down with Jimmy to do his homework, Danny would always sit there. And Danny is 4.5 years younger than Jimmy. So, like when he was 2 and Jimmy was like in the first grade, second grade, and we were doing his work and that, Danny would pick up on all that. Danny could do his alphabet, like you would say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. He could go Z, Y, X, whatever. He could say the alphabet completely backwards, just as fast as you could say it forwards. I don't know that he can still do that now, but when he was little, he could do it. He was like a novelty act. Because wherever we went, we'd say, okay, Danny, do it. Do it for the people. We just always would. But he was always a generous child. He would always like break a candy bar in half and he would measure it. And most kids would be like measuring to see which one was the bigger piece so they could keep it for themselves. He would always measure the bigger piece and he'd hand it off to someone else. He would never keep the bigger piece. I don't know that he'd do that now. I think he would, but I don't know. But one day when we were living at our one house over in Detroit, and Danny was such a picky eater. Oh my gosh, he was so picky. And he was such a skinny little boy. And he had like a defect. And it was kind of like weird to look at when he was a baby. When you would give him his bath or something and he was naked. His chest, he had a sunken chest, like a pirate's chest. And you could actually see his heart beating, because it was weird. It was just really weird. And it was just like, it was kind of gross looking, really. Because you could see the actual heart beating because of the way his chest before it formed. And he always looked malnourished. And my kids always took vitamins. Like when they were babies with their baby foods, I always mixed up the vegetables and I gave them the eggs and all of that stuff. I always gave them all of that stuff. But Danny was picky. He would only eat for breakfast every day, which was Danny's until he was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. This is all he would ever eat. This was his daily diet. For breakfast, he would have a bowl of Cheerios with a glass of orange juice. For lunch, he would have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And for dinner, he would have cottage cheese, applesauce, and mashed potatoes. That was it. That was it. He wouldn't eat anything else. And it was always felt like I was always been big, and we would go to a restaurant, and he wouldn't want to order anything for breakfast, and we'd order him like a bowl of cottage cheese. And we would be having like the whole pancake platter with the bacon and all of that. And he would just eat, and people would look at him like, oh, that poor child, he's so deprived. But he didn't like very many things. And one of the things that he did like to snack on were pretzel rods. And I always felt that they were pretty much safe, because he was like probably 3 and he was eating pretzel rods. How hard can it be to eat a pretzel rod? And one day he was eating a pretzel rod and he got mad at Jimmy for something. And they were like, as boys will be boys, and they were arguing back and forth about something. And Danny took a bite of his pretzel and he went to grab something from Jimmy and he started to cry. And then he took a breath in and he went, and well, you know what happened? He swallowed a pretzel rod and it got lodged in his throat and he couldn't breathe. And he was choking. And then Jimmy realized it, thankfully, and he was yelling, Mom, 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 and so I run in there, and here's Danny choking, not breathing at all. And I couldn't get the pretzel rod up. And I'm patting him on the back, which is like the worst thing you can do, but I was like I was just so scared, and he started turning blue. And I just so panicked, and thankfully Jim was just getting home from work, and he come in the door, and he saw what I was doing, and he grabbed Danny, and he did the Heimlich, and he shot that pretzel across the room, and we never had pretzel rods in our house again for the longest time. I was so afraid of having him eating anything, which is probably why he only ate the cottage cheese, all the soft foods, because I was just so scared. But now I have a pretzel rod jar, and Danny goes in there all the time when he comes over and eats those pretzel rods. But like I said, he was always, he was a good son. He still is. He's a very good son, and he's a really good dad. But anyway, today's his birthday. He's out golfing. Hopefully he'll get a hole-in-one. I don't know if he's ever got a hole-in-one. That would be his dream, I think, if he got one. So, but anyway, I told you that on my weekly meeting highlights, I was going to share my menu for the week. I was going to pick 3 days. I was going to pick Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and I just got on a roll. So let's take a look and see what I decided what I was going to eat this week. Well, on my weekly highlights on Friday, I said I was going to pick 3 days and show you a menu for them. I was going to just show you them the day before. I just decided just to do it all right now. And I actually threw a couple extra days in. For breakfast tomorrow, today. Oh, wow. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to start today. For breakfast today, I'm going to have an egg, hard-boiled egg. I'm going to have some bacon for 3 points, grapefruit, tomato, and banana. It's 3-point breakfast. For lunch, I'm going to have some pepper jack cheese with a bagel and a Laughing Cow cheese with a cucumber, which will be 9 points. And for my dinner, I'm going to have a salad with some cottage cheese with some salad dressing and an apple put in it. That's 7 points, so I have 19 points for my total day today. Tomorrow, I plan on making a veggie omelet. I'm going to put some salsa on there. Thank you, Tamsin, darling. Tamsin had suggested I put some salsa on it. I think I'll put that on top of my omelet, make it look a little better because it's going to look pretty sad. With some Ezekiel toast and a Laughing Cow cheese and some berries, so it's a 3-point breakfast. For lunch, I'm going to have a veggie platter with some veggie dip and a sugar-free pudding for dessert, which is 5 points. And for dinner, I'm going to just make a stuffed pepper, which is not really much. It's just some hamburger that I ground up, or I bake up, and I put some tomato sauce and diced tomatoes, and then I just stuff it into a pepper. And then I'm going to have a side of rice with some sugar-free Jell-O. So it's 12 points, so I have 20 points for the day on Monday. On Tuesday, I'm going to have some oatmeal for breakfast with 2% milk and a banana for 5 points. I'm going to make a bean salad. I'm just going to open up some black beans and some some black beans and some white beans, and I'm going to use some of my poppy seed dressing. I'm going to probably put like 3 different kinds of beans: kidney beans, black beans, and white beans. And then I'm going to have some piece of Ezekiel toast with a holy guacamole on top of it for 6 points. For dinner, I'm going to bake a piece of chicken. I'm going to have a sweet potato, some veggies, some cottage cheese, and a pudding for dessert. So it's 7 points. So Tuesday, I'm going to end up with 18 points. Wednesday, I'm going to have some Kodiak pancakes with some syrup and a banana and egg for 6 points. For lunch, I'm just going to have some veggies and dip for 3 points and a cheese stick. So it's a 4-point lunch. And for dinner, I'm going to have some of my homemade chili, and I'm going to have some ham and cheese roll-ups, and I'm going to have some of my Fritos that I bought the other day. So it's 12 points. So Wednesday is 22 points. On Thursday, I'm going to have some eggs and bacon for breakfast for 3 points. We're doing Danny's birthday on Thursday, so I'm not having a piece of cake for lunch. I'm having a piece of birthday cake for dessert, but I just put it into the lunch for 14 points. And for dinner, I'm just making some lasagna, and I'm going to have a salad. I'm going to use my poppy seed dressing for 1 point. So my dinner's going to be 10 points with my slice of birthday cake for 14, and then a light breakfast 3, so it's 27. I'm on the blue plan. I get 23 points, so I'm 4 points over. But even with that, I'm going to have my blue dot. So that's my plan for this week. If I steer off of this plan, I will let you know, but this is the plan I'm hoping to... Oh, there's my finger in the way. Hello. Anyway, that's my plan for the week. As you can see, I do plan on having a slice of birthday cake on Thursday, which is probably going to throw my way in. I really was thinking I was going to wait till May 1st, which is really a ways away to start getting back on plan. I'm tending to fall back into my old eating habits. I had really an old Sandy type of eating day yesterday, and it was not pretty. It was not pretty. And so it's made me realize that even though I have this attitude that I'm not going to obsess about food, and I'm not going to do a menu plan every week, I just decided to do one this week because, like for the topic for this week. But I think it's going to ease me back into getting back to losing weight, because it's... Weight Watchers is something I'm going to follow the rest of my life. I know that whether I pay the dues or not, I'm still going to follow the plan. And I did not follow the plan yesterday in any way, shape, or form. And at the end of the night, last night, I was feeling kind of depressed. And not like in a depressions type of thing, just kind of sad that I let myself go back to my old eating habits and go back to my old way of thinking that I could eat like that, which I can't. And I just didn't feel good, and I felt so rejected in the way I treated my body that day. And not rejected, that's not really the right word. I just felt so disappointed in the way I treated my body yesterday, and disappointed in myself. And I know that when I'm following my plan, I feel so much better, and I feel so much better about myself. And I think that this past week is just something I needed, but I think I was delusional to think that I could wait until May 1st to get back to losing weight. So my plan is to get right back on track, and I do plan on having the slice of cake on Thursday, even knowing that it might be another week of having another small gain. But I'm ready to get back on that. I'm ready to get back on that horse. I'm back in the saddle again. Because I am going to be. So, with that being said, staying on plan, getting back my mojo, feeling pretty good about my food choices for the week. The bean salad is something I've never made before, so I'm going to try that out. I'm just going to open up a bunch of different cans of beans and put them together and use some of that Panera's dressing. And I'm going to just use some poppy seed dressing. I might add a point or two by putting some olives in it too. I don't know. If I do, I'll let you know. But I still was under my points. I was trying to be under the 23 points because I can't really lose weight at 23 points. I've really got to get it to about 20. And so that's what I'm going to do that. And then the stuffed peppers, I've never made stuffed peppers, but I was watching Valerie Reese, and I kind of like the way she did hers. So all I'm basically going to do, and I'm not even going to do a cook with me because it's just going to be so basic, is I'm just going to brown some meat, and to the meat I'm going to add some stewed tomatoes and probably some tomato sauce, and then put them in a pepper and bake them in the oven. And that's maybe put a little sprinkle of the Velveeta cheese shreds on top. But we'll see how it is. I know you're supposed to mix the rice with it, but I think I'd like the rice as a little bit of a side dish. So that's why I picked it as a side dish rather than putting it in the stuffed peppers. I have never made a stuffed pepper in my life, so I will let you know how that turned out. And then as far as that, everything else is just pretty much my standard eating. I'm going to try for the month of May to change up my eating somewhat as far as getting out of the routine of eating the same stuff all the time, because I am kind of falling into a rut that way, and I think that's part of the reason I was getting so bored with my food choice, with my food choices and with Weight Watchers in general. Is there's so many different menus I could try and so many different things I can do, and I'm just going to try to. That'll be my dedication for May, is just to try to change up my eating choices just for the month of May, as far as not eating the standard foods that are my normal that I have all the time. So, okay, once again, happy birthday to my son Danny. And although the rest of the world knows him as Dan, I do introduce him as Dan, but I always call him Danny. Danny, Jimmy, Christy. That's the way it goes. So, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave a comment, hit that like button, share if you think somebody might like to see it. As always, stay safe, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.